Yeah, and I had said that I don't buy the whole idea of spirits,
creation.
but I definitely buy that this place
And
can
very
be
much
driving him mad, and
young
there
Rhaenyra.
could be spiritual stuff going on. Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. I'm here with the House of the Dragon inside the episode for episode 4 of season 2. Now, I've been thinking about the fact that I haven't really been talking that much about stuff before or after the episodes. So I'm going to start talking during these inside the episodes. This episode I really loved. There was a lot going on, I think, throughout the whole thing, and especially at the end with the dragon battle. I knew the dragon battle was coming. I knew Rhaenys was going to be dying. I knew that Aegon was going to be close to dying. None of that was really surprising, but it was still pretty epic. It was still very interesting. It still sucks that Rhaenys is dead. She is my favorite character. I think of all the people on the Black Council, she has been Rhaenyra's wisest counsel. She always has the right words. She always knows what to say. She just seems to have a lot of wisdom. So it was very sad to see her go. And the episode before this, when Eric and Eric died, that really, really sucked. But again, another thing I knew was coming because the books. And I don't remember everything in the books. There's lots of little things that I don't remember. There's lots of little stories, like the Harrenhal story, I don't remember it. The stuff with Alice Rivers, I don't remember it. I just knew that she was important. I knew stuff was going to happen, but I didn't remember what. I definitely remembered the big fight. I had no clue that Aemon was going to turn on his own brother like that. Yes, the messed up stuff that Aegon did to him the other night in that brothel was really jacked up, but it didn't clue me in that Aemon might turn on him because of that and because of all the other shit that Aegon's done to him. That was definitely a surprise. I had no clue that was going to happen. A lot of the reactions I saw, they didn't seem to comment too much. Like, I was really excited to watch the reactions just to see what people had to say about the fact that Aemon turned on him. And most of them pretty much directly related it to him being picked on by his brother so often, and especially in the brothel the night before. But I didn't see anybody, even those who have read the books, talk about how it didn't seem to be something that was indicated in the books. Yet on the show, Aemon just completely fires Dracarys at his brother. I think there was even somebody that thought maybe it was an accident, but to me it looked like he was directing that right at his brother. Another thing that I noticed from a lot of the reactions that I saw was that a lot of people thought that he is dead. I am pretty darn sure he is not dead. In the books, he's not dead. And I also saw a short with him in it where he is all jacked up and still there. He's going to be alive for a while, but on his deathbed. He's in very bad shape, but not dead. Now, if for some odd reason I start watching it and find out he actually is dead, well, then I guess I was wrong. I'm pretty sure he's alive. Anyway, let's get to this inside the episode.
Cole is now a real problem that's going to have to be dealt with in the Crown Lands. He's taken down Duskendale and Rosby and Darkland and should be marching on Harrenhal with the force that he's assembled.
Cole's victories have only emboldened him. He marches on Rook's Rest.
Rook's Rest, it's a tiny coastal keep right across the bay. Rhaenyra seizes upon that.
There are those who have mistaken my caution for weakness. Let that be their undoing.
And plays right into Cole's hand. George always said about Damon, he's heroic and villainous in equal parts. And that's what makes him fascinating as a character. Part of Damon's story to Harrenhal this season is having to face and atone for the sins of his past. Lena.
Yeah, and I had said that I don't buy the whole idea of spirits,
Creation.
but I definitely buy that this place can be driving him mad, and there could be spiritual stuff going on that's interfering with his thoughts and sleep, but I don't think there's like
become really
ghosts that are haunting him.
One of his core injuries. This is the room that has caused him so much pain. It's the seat that he's coveted for so long and was denied. And then the little girl who stole it from him. Before he knows it, he exacts vengeance.
It's the blood of the dragon. They're connected in such a deep way. And the idea that he could harm her is, really alien.
He's still very closed to these intrusive visions, but they start to break down the very carefully constructed walls that he's put up around himself.
Touch late to be stalking about a strange castle.
Alice Rivers is written about quite a bit in the book. She's described as a kind of woods witch that lives at Harrenhal, has possibly been there for hundreds of years. You don't really know immediately whether she is what she says she is.
You are a strange kind of woman.
I'm no woman at all. I'm a barn owl. I still live in human form. She's not afraid of him, and I think that he recognizes that, and that's unusual for him. Have you experienced anything of note?
She instills a sort of curiosity in Damon. What is she? Why is she here? Is she influencing me? Am I beholden to her?
She understands things about him, whether because she's just a good reader of people or there's something else going on. And she penetrates him in a way that I think fascinates him, but also makes him very uncomfortable.
I think it's really up for debate whether Alice is shaping Damon's journey in terms of his kind of spiritual awakening, or if he's doing that himself.
Yeah, I think after she gave him that drink, she's definitely interfering, but I don't know. I think maybe she was just observing before.
The two of you have been plotting without my authority.
I love scenes that involve Valerian. It's a real language for us. The fact that people who speak it at different levels becomes part of their character.
Aemond in this scene is still furious at his humiliation at the brothel. Aemond and Aegon both, of course, learned High Valyrian as children. It's just that Aemond paid a little more attention to it.
A little more. Aemond was just always more serious about that stuff. And Aegon was never serious about it.
It's a public shame.
He's aware that everyone else is feeling certain resentment towards him, but then when Aemond does it, that really breaks a bit of his heart off. Goston Bevilus Segiton Billy Vazni.
I can have to make a war.
One rule to take away from House of the Dragon: don't laugh at Aemond. Bad things happen to you.
They don't care what I think.
Yeah, Alicent had said, well, you know what Aemon is.
With her head spinning, wondering whether she misinterpreted what Viserys' words were. She comes back home and sees Rhaenyra, stomping around and ranting like a petulant teenager.
My counsel, Cole, Aemond, they pursue their campaign without seeking my aid or even my thoughts. Contrary to many people's beliefs, Aegon is a very sensitive individual. He wants his mum's love. He wants his mum's validation. He wants her to believe in him.
Alicent can coat her words in honey a little bit more to Aegon if she chooses, but the tension is bubbling. Do you think simply wearing the crown imbues you with wisdom?
She's lost a bit of...
Yeah, I think she's so irritated with him at the time.
Him,
And plus, I think she had...
Which is
nothing.
Recently taken that draft.
Most devastating, most demeaning, belittling thing that she could have said to her son in that moment.
It's the first time we see Alicent point blank tell him everything that he can't hear, especially the way how fragile he is at that time too, and how he's just becoming more and more naked and more alone. And that's one of the final straws for him, I think, before he fully spirals.
The thing that everybody has warned Rhaenyra against is you're the queen, you're the sovereign, you cannot ride to battle. Aegon has just muscled everybody out of the way and decided to ride into the battle to prove that he was just as much a man as Cole and his brother.
And Him, like, just now riding this dragon, I don't think we've seen
That can't hope to win.
Sunfire really before this in action. So it kind of sucks that this was the last time that we were actually going to see him.
Send me, Your Grace. I will meet Cole.
Him or her, I don't remember.
Having said for the whole season,
I know the dragons you can't really tell until they've, like,
dragons, if it has to be done,
had eggs or whatever, hatched eggs.
it's better that she does it than anybody else. Ultimately, she is expendable, where Rhaenyra is not.
What should be a small campaign to take a small keep turns into a kind of watershed moment. Dragon! The first act of full-on dragon conflict. All bets are off, all order is gone. Whatever you thought was important on the battlefield doesn't matter at all. It's basically just a collateral damage site because the real battle is going on over your heads.
Aegon has arrived as the fly in the ointment, so to speak.
Yeah,
It's changed the strategy. Now Vhagar and Cole have to contend with the fact that
not part of the plan, and he's drunk off of his ass. And trying to prove himself when he's drunk. Not that I think he stood a chance.
The question it raises, did he seize an opportunity where he could take 2 players off the board? Or was Aegon just collateral?
When he's plummeting to the earth after being hit by a ball of fire, all of his fears of Aemon's betrayal.
Collateral or not, it definitely looked like he was looking straight at his brother.
Your Grace!
All the people affected by this,
And calling Dracarys at him.
it was his plan.
Cole has been in battle before. He's seen people die. He's seen people crushed beneath horses. And so Cole had to be particularly touched by the distinct and specific nature of dragon war and how insignificant it made soldiers like him on the battlefield.
He's playing chess.
Yeah, and there were people saying that they thought that Cole would be the worst person to have as a hand. And that might be. I still think he would be better than
Loss.
Otto Hightower.
Cole is responsible for it. The worst possible thing that could have happened.
But we know he has experience in war. So even though his morals and ethics are completely out of hand,
I think it's a Pyrrhic victory for both sides. We lose Rhaenys, one of Rhaenyra's most trusted counselors. We don't really know the condition of Sunfire or Aegon. You just have to regard it
he
as
definitely
an example of how horrible and awful.
has more of that battle experience.
Great restraint.
Alright. That was inside the episode. I think another thing that people were pointing out in the reactions was Rhaenyra's kid's reaction when she came back. That he was like being very saucy. And I don't blame him. Like, I think a lot of people were like frustrated. She's the queen. She's your mom. You have no business talking to her like that. But really, she's his mom. And she's just missing at a time like that. He's a teenage kid. Like, he's not going to know how to react to that, and I don't think he is used to those types of actions from her. So her just disappearing like that, without saying a word, and then coming back and telling everybody at the council that she was just speaking to Alicent in King's Landing, which definitely puts her in danger. That I'm sure struck a huge nerve. And then the stuff where they decide they need someone to take out Cole, she puts her name out and they're like, no, you can't do that. You're the queen. You die and all is lost. It's done. And then Jacaerys suggested he go and she's like, no. And I think that after her other kid dying like that, she is not ready to let any of her kids be really involved like that, not in any kind of battles. So it does not surprise me at all that she just straight up said no, there's no way. And she used the excuse that he's inexperienced, but I think she may have been more willing to send him out for something like that before his brother died. Once his brother was killed like he was, I think that's got her on guard. She does not want to put her kids in harm like that, and that's why she sent the other kids away. And poor Rayla, she is feeling all kind of unwanted, and like she's not respected because she doesn't have a dragon. But I do think that the job that Rhaenyra gave her is like one of the most important jobs, and that takes a lot of freaking guts and a lot of trust for a mom to trust somebody like that with her youngest kids, 3 of her youngest kids, and those 4 eggs. That's huge. Huge, very important. It takes a crap load of responsibility. Anyway, that's all I got for you this week. I will see you next week. Bye. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.